Hello. Right. Today, I've got one from actually this great book of poetry, Other Men's Flowers, by the late Lord Wavell, who, this is a huge book of poetry. Now, the legend has it that Lord Wavell had every single one of these poems by heart, and there must be several hundred in here, at least a couple of hundred, which is extraordinary. But The Listeners by Walter de la Mare. The reason I love this, you'll sort of see it, but again, it's the tension between this traveller who's in the middle of these silent woods, banging wildly on a door, and it just comes when there's no response. There's this line which is, "Tell them I came and no one answered, that I kept my word." And it's just the anguish of that line that again is just it just stops me dead. That sense of futility, desperation to have mattered, but to have missed the moment. But also, there's something sort of innately human in that, like how we feel about important stuff, and how we sometimes feel if we haven't been decisive enough or kept our word because we got distracted, or the road that we were taking, wasn't straight. Surprise, surprise. But also just the silence, how everything returns to normal. And I think that's, for me, again, there's the thing to remember that, the bias of focus, like whatever we look at feels intensely important, but actually the world goes on. The world is just infinitely larger than us. And sometimes it pays just to sort of take a step back and remember that. Anyway, The Listeners by Walter de la Mare. "Is there anybody there?" said the traveller, knocking on the moonlit door. And his horse to the silence chomped the grasses of the forest's ferny floor, and a bird flew up out of the turret above the traveller's head. And he smote upon the door again a second time. "Is there anybody there?" he said. But no one descended to the traveller. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his grey eyes, where he stood perplexed and still. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwelt in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men, stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall, hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveller's call. And he felt in his heart their strangeness, their stillness answering his cry, while his horse moved, cropping the dark turf neath a starred and leafy sky. For he suddenly smote on the door even louder and lifted his head. "Tell them I came and no one answered, that I kept my word," he said. Never the least stir made the listeners, though every word he spake fell echoing through the shadowless of the still house, and the one man left awake. Aye, they heard his foot upon the stirrup, and the sound of iron on stone, and how the silence surged softly backward when the plunging hoofs were gone.